I like to know a little bit more about this because as we know, some of the countries, especially education, is one of so-called protecting life.
Yes.
So in Cambodia, you mean the foreigner, if they want to invest in the education, it can be 100% owned by the foreigners.
Yes. As far as I know, you can own 100% by the foreigner. I'm come here before as an American. I didn't declare myself as Cambodian. I opened as an American, and it's fine. And other people that I know of, they own the company as 100% foreigner. But it's just that if you want to buy property, you want to buy a house, this and that, usually they end up marrying local here, and they find the woman here beautiful, mixed race. So they end up and marry, and then they buy under their wife or kid's name, something like that, and eventually they stay here. Just like expat coming to Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, you see a combination of many ethnic groups there. So Cambodia hoping to be the same, and we welcome all, and hopefully everyone will do business here in the sector that we are overlooking. And there's a lot of sector that the local are overlooking, and business and education is one of the sector that's simply overlooked. So for that reason, I don't think the government, naturally I don't think, I believe the government have no reason to restrict. Yeah, actually if I want to open a middle school, they would rather have an international partner, and then I can get to have a license faster. So without foreign partner, then I probably take a longer time because they trust foreigner than the local. Because foreigners, you can have a backup fund, and you do it properly. You have an overseas training and so on. So that way you can expose the local here to the training outside. So sometimes it's even more helpful to be a foreigner actually.
Is there any restriction or any limitation on the syllabus which you are going to implement in your school? Is it meaning we need to come up with a school education? Is there any restrictions or the rules we got to follow exactly what syllabus is existing in Cambodia?
Basically, I think if you're a foreigner, you have to. I think it's about tax. Basically, it's about tax that you have to pay. And some countries, the government have not yet have the dual tax agreement. So for like America like me, we don't have dual tax agreement. So I have to pay two tax, and that's a little bit bothersome because number one, we want the government to have an agreement. So in that way, we don't have to pay two taxes. But beside that, I think it's a matter of international law that you have to follow for foreign investor. Just like in every other country, you have to follow the international rule for international investor. And there might be some different, but I believe all in all, they make it easy. And there's some changes. I went to the conference last week, and there's come up with some changes that make sure that there's no abuse on local worker, there's no abuse on salary incentive. They just want to make sure that it's treating the worker fair, regardless of you are Cambodian or foreigner. So those are the simple rules that every country has to go through. But I think that some people come to Cambodia for quick earning, and they do money launderings and all other businesses, hoping that they can get quick, and then eventually they get catch up with the law, and then there's trouble. And when there's trouble, and there's always bad rumor about Cambodia. But all in all, I think that you just come here as you're thinking of moving into another state on our province and county and do business as usual. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to ask more about the course syllabus. Meaning the student, when they study, we have a syllabus for them.
Yes.
For every country, actually, they may have some standard syllabus,
Yes.
which we are going to abide or follow. So when talk about the international school, sometimes in Malaysia, they don't need to follow syllabus. They can have their own syllabus. So how about Cambodia? Is there any syllabus the school, the private school have to follow?
For the K to 12, to grade 12, there's a there's a syllabus that the government put forth. Certain classes they have to teach. Basically, there's a core curriculum that we follow. And then beside that, you can insert extracurricular activity as you want to enhance your students' learning. But once you reach the higher learning into college, all curriculum are adopted by their own school. And usually they tend to be, similar in all schools. They study and they follow most of the school here. They use a foreign curriculum. Sometime in Singapore, sometime in America. So different institutions follow differently. But all in all, they use the same language, English and Cambodian. So you don't see much different, but the requirement credit are all the same. The courses might be different, but the credit have all the same, yes. The number of classes that you have to take, and everyone has to take foundation year, and that is also all the same, yes.
How about the examination? Do they need to go for the government examination or go for overseas examination?
No, for the all major, they have national examination according to the major. But for college exam, it's conducted by college. There's no control by the government. But then there's certain national exam to get a license. Then they have the association that are conducted by the government or by the ministry as required. For example, a lawyer, you have to pass the bar exam that's conducted by the law association that's under the government's jurisdiction. And the same thing for other license, engineering license. You have to meet certain requirements and you have to get a license in order to be an engineer, civil engineer. So those are only needed when you want to be licensed and be registered and able to have your own company or work as a registered licensed staff. But beside that, you got your bachelor degree just like any other country, going through the academic learning process, examination by the professor and graded by the professor, and independently, not under the government control. So it is very free will by any university. And the university have, annual inspection by the Ministry of Education. Especially it is a must require that they are being inspected annually by the government staff if you are high school down. But once you are in university and then they have another group of Ministry of Education staff, they come and check according to their requirement. But every school check and inspect in administrative, in academic quality, in qualification of teacher. They conduct all of that, and the safety requirement. Basically, they look at all. There's many mandates that you have to implement that meet the requirement for safe and sound by the government.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I'd like to seek for some information for the public. For this homework, I do not know whether you have any statistic about how many universities in Cambodia right now, and how many of them is local, how many operated by the foreign university?
Oh, as far as I know, I think university is over 100 something university. I'm not sure with the number, but I know it's over 100. But they are more than the government. They are more than the government, yes. But for K-12, the government has more school. But for university, it's overtaken by the private sector. So the government have less university.
So in terms of employment, the future employer, they will look for the foreign university or the local university. Which one is best for them?
Right now, it's both. It's a matter of brand name and the quality that you have built so far. Some local university, regardless of private university, regardless of opened by the local people or the international, they look at how qualified the student who graduate before. And it's well known throughout the country. Any school that outperform anyone, it's known right away. So regardless of a government school or private school, you will be preferred according to the quality. So it does not matter if you are a public school or you are a private school. It is if you are a school that known to be producing quality education and qualified staff. And that has been well distinguished among all Cambodian people here. And sometimes you see public school outnumber in performance, in quality than in private school. And sometimes you see private schools that are much more lousy, worse than the public school. So it's in either way. So it's a matter of how you've been living here and you know which school, just like you in America, or you know that Harvard is number one, Yale and Berkeley and Oxford in UK. We all know that. So that's how people here rank according to known status.
It's good to hear that.
But the good thing is there's no discrimination of what school you are from, whether you are from the public or the private. They welcome all because the government very open on this one. And he called on more more private schools to open up to absorb the number of graduates they are producing each year, and they're increasing in number.
How to compare if there is any like a foreign graduate from the overseas university, foreign graduate from overseas, even though it's a Cambodia, but they graduate overseas, and the graduate and the local, the graduate local, is there any difference in terms of salary?
Salary, it's all about the same, but all in all, local get less salary than the expat. Regardless of what expat you are, they tend to get more. I think the Cambodian is one of the very few people, a few countries that value expat more than the local. They get more salary, they earn more, and the local here, they value them more. For some reason, that's how the locals see that they believe the experts are better, are smarter, or are more creative, and so on. So sometimes when higher position, they get expat to do it. But the past 5 years, it changed a little bit. The trend is the opposite. They believe that Cambodia can do it too, because we have more and more Cambodians become CEO, COO of a company, but still in a very small percentage. There's still much more to go, to improve. I believe that it's the university changing their quality, adapting more quality, teaching more research, more practical, and also more qualified professor. Then you have a more effective, qualified, and productive graduate. Then they will prefer more local. But as of now, local have better English, some of them. But the quality of knowledge is still limited compared to expat. And that is very sad. And I hope that it will reverse within the next 5 or 10 years. Let me correct you that the higher education in Cambodia, private is about 82 right now. There's a total of 130, and then 82 is the private one. So more than 50%. 82 out of 130. Basically.
Yeah. So I believe how about the secondary and the primary local more, or the public school more, or private school more?
Public school more, yes. That's right. Much more than the private one. But for higher education, private takeovers for that.
So at this moment of time, is it means that most of the private school actually mostly in the city?
No, private school are spread throughout, and the more you spread, the better you will do better in business. Because a lot of people don't want to go out of the city. So if they go out, mean they have to live in the province or in outskirts. But those outskirts are more needed, in more demand than in the city. So those who open their private school outskirts, they tend to perform better and quiet. and without no one know. But by the time you know, they boom very fast. Yeah. One good thing about private school here is that the government for the past 10 years give us a big incentive by forgive tax 100%. Yeah, it's a 4 tax that are obligated to do that. It's the staff salary and the rental and 2 more, but that is not a big deal. So basically, it's a profit tax is still waived, and all other taxes basically there's about 10, 15 taxes that are all waived. So and now he just announced 2 weeks ago he will waive another 5 years for the next mandate. So this is quite excitement for all the private owner of the school. And this is not just for higher education, but for all private school.
So just wondering, is there any obligation like from this private school now towards the government? Is there any obligation they have to do?
Well, they have to, just like any other company in the world, you have to comply with the requirement. Make sure you pay tax, and make sure you pay national security for your staff. Make sure you pay the seniority pay for your staff, and all the benefit that put forth by the government, and pay according to the inflation rate, not below the inflation rate, and pay them on time. A lot of schools, they don't pay on time. They delay 1 or 2 months. This is the biggest problem to many companies local here. Government never delay payment on time, but private company, either school or company, they tend to have a delay in salary. Sometimes they don't pay them for 2 months, 3 months, and then suddenly they disappear. You have that also. And then sometimes the government can't do anything because they just disappear, and you cannot arrest them because we don't know whereabouts. So maybe they have better tracking system in the future, and maybe a better requirement and connection with the counterpart where they are from. We should have something like that. But as of now, we still have people doing that. And this is a sad part. They earn small salary, yet they have been cheated by the owner of the school or the company. But it happened more often before in the past decade, but only 1 or 2 recently. But it still happened. And I believe that every country have this one. But the good thing is that it is a good business. It is a growing business. It is a demanding business. Not just education, not just health, but any business. If you do it legally, you do it properly, register accordingly, you will make money, because Cambodia are in need of all sectors, of all business, like from A to Z, that every country have from A to Z and revolving many times. We do not have enough from A to Z yet, let alone revolving A many times.
Yeah, listen to what Nick on here. I do think that you are passionate and enthusiastic about what you did right now. It is great to hear that. And could Nick on here tell us a little bit about your personal background, your past experience, and which made you involved, dedicated to this education industry?
Well, I was originally from Cambodia, and after the war, at the age of 10, we fled the war to Thailand in 1979 and was sent back in 1981. We went again through the refugee camp and stayed in the camp for 3 years, and then in the Philippines for 1 year. And after that, we got to the US in 1984. So after high school, I started 8th grade, so quite old already at the age of 15. I start 8th grade, finish, I get accepted to Berkeley, and I go on to medical school, teach about 4 or 5 years, about 3 years in medical school, and then came back for a medical volunteer in Cambodia, and then get stuck and stay here after the medical volunteer as a public health advisor through an NGO in Maryland, but based in Phnom Penh. So after that, I got married here, work here. I decided to do clinic here. So with clinic come the language center. With language center come the K-12 school. But the school expands so fast. When I started, we only have 4 students, 5 staff. But then within 2 years, the student grow day by day. We have 2,000 or 7,500 students within 2.5 years. And we could have grown more. Even now, I could have grown more if I just have more funds. But the difficulty of finding funds is very, it's so hard to do it. For some reason, people believe that, oh, education is not needed. Every county already saturated and is not demanding so and so. But they misunderstand that Cambodia, just like any other developing country, when they rise from the war, what they need the most to build a nation is the good education and good health. So those two are in need tremendously. So what I'm in are clinics, health, and education. So right now education grow, health would have grown also if I have enough fund. And so far, I only have clinic in the school that cater to student only and parent and staff and some of the low-income family. Yes. Since 2005, with 4 students, 5 staff, and now it grew to 20,000 in all for both schools, and with 2,300 staff, and we ready for IPO. We're ready since 2012, but then there's some expansion so fast. Our EBITDA was reduced so low, so I decided to wait until 2009. And then pandemic come, so this time I say it doesn't matter what happened, election or economic down, we are ready for IPO. And then we decide to apply in December, mid-December, and in the process submit in January, first week of January. So wait and see. And we can start doing the process, and then by the end of March and first week of April, we will close it. And hopefully, everything will go well. And hoping to promote the stock market in Cambodia. I believe in the government. I believe that the election will go well. And I believe there is a safe and sound and stability here. So I hope to welcome more investors. Those who hear about this will come to Cambodia and take part of this growing sector in the region that everyone misunderstood but should be aware of and take the advantage of.